Welcome everyone. Here is section 5.3, multiplying polynomials. Step 1 is obviously with monomials. So how do we multiply with just one term? When we do this, we follow the exact same rules of exponents that we've learned in previous videos. So for example, in A, you would multiply your terms together. So you would do 10 times 9 and then x times x, and your final result would be 90x squared, because the exponent rule is keep your base, add your exponents, and you're finished. With B, same process. You multiply your numbers, you put together your variables, and you add your exponents. So negative 11 times 8 is a negative 88, and then you add 7 plus 3, and you get 10, negative 88x to the 10th power. A second way we can do it is distribution. So A is an example of what we did before, so it's using that rule and adding those exponents. With B, we distribute, just like we've done in the past. You take that 4x and you distribute it across. When you do that, you multiply your terms together or add your exponents if there are. Your final result would be 16x to the fourth and then 32x, because there's only one variable in the second term. In C, same process. You distribute, which we are used to. You take the negative 5x squared and you distribute to the first, the second, and the third. So in the trinomial, you do your math. Okay, so you multiply negative 5x squared by each point, and your final answer will be whatever the math becomes plus the exponents. When you have two, so binomials, you can still do distributive. So you're going to take the first term y and you're going to distribute it to each piece in the second pair, and then you're going to take your second term plus 5 and distribute it to everything in the second pair. You do your math, you put together your like terms, and then you get your final answer. Same thing for B, so you distribute both and you get your final answer once you put together your like terms. Polynomials, vertical. So that was the horizontal view where you distributed across. The second view is vertical. So what you do is when you have multiplication, you want to put your like terms together. So here I have a trinomial and a binomial. Okay, I'm going to put them vertically, so one on top of the other. I always like to have my bigger one on top, but in reality, it doesn't matter. You'll have the same answer. You start with your 5 and you multiply to the top. Okay, and you get this answer. Then you take your 2y squared on the bottom and you multiply it to each piece on the top, and you get here. You can leave it here and add, but I'm going to rearrange it because I know I have to add my like terms. So I'm going to move my bottom one and I'm going to line up my like terms. From here, you just add straight down. So anytime there's not anything below or above, it's a 0, and you add down and get your final answer. Special products. So another way we can use is FOIL. So what FOIL is, it's first, outer, inner, and last. And in the previous video, it has a whole, sorry, not video, in the actual slides, it has each meaning and where they are. But what you're taking are you're multiplying, so you're taking the product of the first terms, you're taking the product of the outside terms, you take the product of the inside terms, and then the product of the last terms. So for this scenario, on the right, you see them all in red. Those are all my math completed. From there, I just have to add my like terms. I have no y squared. There's only one, so I don't add it to anything. I have a 4y, negative 12y. Those are like terms. I put them together, and there's nothing like a negative 48. So when I combine them all together, I get a y squared minus 8y minus 48. When I'm squaring binomials, you are still going to use the FOIL, but it's considered a special product because what you're doing is you're taking one and you're basically duplicating it and then multiplying it together. So when it's squared, you're taking it and duplicating. Anytime you see a positive number like the one here, anytime you see a positive, that tells you that across the board, your answer will be positive. Okay? When you see a negative like the one down here, that tells you your middle term will be a negative number because you have to eliminate in some way. Here's an example. So we take x plus 6 squared, and basically you're duplicating it, x plus 6 times x plus 6. I use the FOIL system, so first, outer, inner, and last. And I notice that my 6x's are there, and they're both addition because both of them were a plus 6, so then my answer is positive all the way across. When you have the sum of difference, so when you have a plus and a minus and they are exactly the same except for the plus or minus, your middle term will be eliminated. So I will do FOIL, okay, and I notice that I have the exact same problem, just one is a positive and one is a negative. When I go, my middle terms will be exact opposites. One will be a positive, one will be a negative, and they eliminate each other, which then gives me only two terms in my answer. I have the x squared and I have the coefficient negative 16. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.